Hi there, Kathy with Petals and Paint Designs. I'm in the studio again, and today I'm actually pulling something together for a customer. It's going to be a garden swag, spring garden swag, and it's a lot of fun to make. It's easy to do, so I thought I'd just share the steps with you. Now, typically when working on something like this, I would choose to start to make the bow first, but I've decided for this particular project I'm going to wait until I get some of the flowers that I'm thinking I'm going to put in with the sign, and then I'm going to put the bow on at the end. This is just, it's almost like a twig swag. I got it from Ella's Home and Garden. I will go ahead and put the link down underneath the video. I've gone ahead and just put a pipe cleaner loop on for a hanger. And then I picked up this really cute sign. I think I got this last year at either Michael's or Joann's. And I don't know if you can see this trowel. I picked this trowel up at either a yard sale or Savers. And what I did is I used the E6000 glue, and I went ahead and I glued the garden tool right to the sign. And then I have taken, it had like a twine hanger on it. I took the twine out and I've put zip ties, and if you notice they're still a little loose because I'm thinking I'm going to stick some greens down in, and I didn't want to tighten them up yet. So again, this is just kind of a general thought process of where I'm going. That's why I didn't secure these 100% because I'm not quite sure I think that's where I want the sign, but I'm not 100% positive yet. Some of the flowers I've asked the customer, she said yellow, blue, green, and that's why I picked this little garden tool. I don't know if you saw, but it's got painted on it. It's got some yellow, looks like almost like a sunflower, some blue, some white. So I'm going to go ahead and incorporate some of those into this piece, as well as I've got some red, got some orange, and I'm trying to stay, I'm going to do a few large flowers, but for the most part I'm going to do smaller in this piece. I think it would be more eye-catching. I'm thinking maybe some tulips, some green tulips. I just think every piece you should have a little bit of green. It really makes the other colors pop. I said the same thing about black sometimes, and if you notice I've got black on the sign. And then I'm also thinking I'm going to incorporate some white. But for the very beginning, for the start, I'm going to go ahead and use, I had this all nice and organized in notes. I'm gonna start with some ficus leaves. And I did get these at Hobby Lobby. And I usually always try to get things when they're 50%, otherwise they're just so expensive. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to attach this to the swag itself. I'm going to be using a pick machine just because for this particular type of swag, the picks work really, really well. And I'm just applying some hot glue to my stem. My thought process at the beginning is to just have the greens coming out, and then I'm going to, once I put in some of these ficus leaves, I'm going to add in some ivy and another type of green. If you've watched any of my other videos, you'll hear me talk about the importance of having a variety of different types of greens. Not only in shape-wise, like this ficus leaf, but another green that I'm going to choose, I'm thinking about adding some of this ivy in that has orange berries on it, because the orange is going to pick up some of the orange in this. But then see how it's just going to pop because it's a lighter shade and the leaf is a different shape. Put some glue on this. I had made a shovel, winter shovel piece for this particular client. And the woman that she asked me to make this for, saw that shovel piece and loved it. And she said she loves to garden, so will you make her a gardening piece? So this is going to be a lot of fun. Now I'm just trying to tuck some of these greens into the branches to separate them, make it look a little bit more realistic. Kind of make them stand out a little bit. And I really want to cut the zip ties, but I want to wait a little bit longer to do that. And I'm going to go ahead and put this one up top. Now this is going to be a little difficult. There is a little bit of wire under here that I'm going to try to get it through. I want it up high enough. Yeah, that's right where I wanted it. So what I'm going to do at this point is take my needle nose pliers and try to bend that right over. I'd like to be able to feed it right back in the back, which I can do. And this will all be hidden when I put the ribbon on. None of that's going to show. So I'm not really worried about that too much. What I like about these ficus leaves is you can twist and turn them. They are a little bit pliable. Put them in the direction that you want. Okay, and then I want one more. I'm going to have to go grab another branch. Sorry about that. These were $2 on 50% off. The regular $4. And I know the swag at the time when I bought the swag at Ellis wasn't expensive. And you don't have to have a wholesale license to purchase from them. They're a great company. I've been very happy with what I've gotten from them. So like I said, I'll put their link down below. And now what I'm going to do is just pull this up a little bit and get an idea. And yeah, I love that. So I'm going to go ahead and put a pick on that. I want that to go up in just a little bit more. It's a little too long. Yeah, I like that better. Okay, and for right now, I'm going to leave. I've got a little bit of open, but I know that I'm going to bring in flowers and some ribbon. So I'm going to wait to fill that up because, like I said, I do want to use some other greens. My style, I don't like real heavy. I like to make it look airy. So I'm going to wait to put any more of the ficus leaves in at this point, because I want to add some of this ivy. And you can already see when I just put this up how much it's going to make the ficus leaves stand out. That's why it doesn't have to be real expensive. You could, even if you go to the dollar store, just pick up different types of green, especially the different shaped leaf. It just helps so much in your pieces. What I do ahead of time is I try to cut as many pieces as I can before I get started. Let's say I bought a bush. I would cut all the stems off of the bush, cut all my floral stems ahead of time. Like this was a bush, but I cut them all ahead of time. Just a lot easier. Moves along a lot quicker that way. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tighten this first zip tie here, because I think I'm going to keep the sign where it is. I'm going to tighten up this one over here. because I'm really liking where that is. Zip ties are great. And then I'm also going to take this down and I'm going to just put, because this is a twig wreath, you could even do this if you were using an evergreen base, but I am going to put a little bit of glue on the zip tie and the twig just to hold it in place. I just don't want it to slide. I don't think it would, but I just don't want it to slide. And now I'm going to continue on with my ivy. Now, depending on your taste and style of design, you can completely make them exactly the same on both sides. You could just duplicate if that's what you like. I tend to like something a little different because I feel that when I look outside, my backyard, anywhere in nature, you don't typically see that everything grows so symmetrical. So I tend to like things a little different. I'm really loving how the berries are right there. I'll probably end up snipping or putting that out back so that I don't cover up the sign, but we'll see. Pink, I want some down in there. Oh, I like that. I love this swag because it just grabs. Because of the twigs, it really grabs the all the greens. Looking for more ivy. Here we go. I'm just going to turn this a little bit towards me. Project is great for if you have odds and ends left. Say you've worked on a couple of projects and you have only a few flowers. This would be a wonderful project for that. See already how it's just bringing the piece to life between the ficus and the ivy? It's just really making them pop. I am thinking I want one more. Again, not really knowing about the bow. Typically when you design with flowers, you don't always have to do this, but a lot of people say that you should form a triangle. You know, so I've got that triangle here with the berries, the berries, the berries. That makes a triangle. I'm just trying to decide about over here. I'm not quite sure what I want to do. And again, I don't want to have it too full either. I think I'm going to hold off on that and start to put in some flowers. Now, typically you would start with your larger flowers first. And I've chosen some of these blue. I just love this flower. So I'm thinking, these are great because you can bend them. I got these at Michael's last year. 80% off, I believe. Yeah, I like that a lot. Now sometimes if you start to work on a project and you just want to position things and you get things in so well that they feel really secure, I would just keep it in and apply the glue from there. I wouldn't even pull the stem back out again if you've got good adherence. Love this blue. So pretty. It has been freezing cold here in New Hampshire. I am so ready for spring. So ready for spring. This would be adorable, like on a garage door or on the side of a garage. Super cute. Even on a front door, but by a gardening shed. This would make a great Mother's Day present for those moms that love to garden. And I would start keeping your eye out, you know, for things like this little gardening tool at a Goodwill or Savers. You can typically find stuff marked down. I just want to see if I want to add this. I like how airy this is. Again, it's a different texture. Now in this particular piece at the top, I'm assuming I'm going to add a bow. I don't know yet, but you know, not everyone likes a bow. Some people would rather choose not to have one. So you don't always have to put a bow on something. And a lot of times how I choose my florals, well, this particular client, I did ask the customer what they wanted. But, you know, I use complementary colors across from each other on the color wheel, and that really helps you make a beautiful choice and selection. So since I'm using the blue, I've got some yellows that I'm going to choose to use in a little bit. This would be great. Again, this whole process, like some of the other pieces that I've shared with you on my channel, it's the same. It's the same process, and you could use it to make all different time, you know, all different seasonal pieces. Christmas, fall, summer. Okay, so what I think I'm going to do here is I'm going to put one in here. And then I've got one left, and I'm going to put this down in the bottom. See, now this one's in there really, really good. I could have just used the glue gun and applied the glue from where it was up inside the base. Have you tried to make something like this before? Leave a comment. I'd love to know. And if there's something that you'd like to see me try to do, please leave a comment and let me know. I'd love to try to, you know, we could create it together. I've done garden hose wreath before. I'm planning on doing one of those in the future. I have this really cute potting shed sign that I'm going to be putting on a wreath with some seed packets. Springtime. So much fun. There's so many things you can do. And I think it's so neat when you think outside of the box and use items that you don't always think to use. Now, in this one, because of all the greenery that I have down here, I feel like it's too heavy with the leaves. So this bottom section Not the tall little airy things. I'm going to keep those. But these leaves, I'm actually just going to take right off and choose not to use them. Because I just don't want it to look so heavy. Because we're coming down to the bottom and I just want it to start to look a little bit airier. I'm actually going to even snip off. I could pull these down and take this section. I'll just do that. Take this section off. I'm going to keep these little ones because they have, they're like an elephant ear and they have a lot of detail on them. And then I'm going to feed that one back on. Snip this down a little bit. Okay, we're making some progress here on this piece. Sometimes when you use a sign, it's hard because you don't want the sign to get covered up. So what I'm actually going to do here, I love the way that leaf fell on it. So I'm just going to put a couple dots of glue on the sign. And then I'm going to take the corner of this leaf and just place it and hold it with my finger just for a minute. Just so it'll stay. Here we go. Okay, now I'm feeling like I have two open spots here. And this is hard because I'm looking at it at a different angle than I typically do. So I think I need a couple more of these. So I'm only going to do a shorter branch this time. And then a shorter branch on the other side as well. Let's see what that looks like. Right in there. Oh, that's what I want. Same on the other side. So far in the greens, the ficus, I haven't even used my $4 worth of that. Someone up in here. And then I'm gonna, once it settles down and dries, I'm gonna tuck it like that. I'll tuck, I could even nip if I wanted to. I could cut that lip a little bit of this leaf so it wouldn't, you know, take up too much space. Because again, I don't want it to look too heavy. And I'm thinking I'm going to have a bow there. I think I might put one up there and then one down there. And see, this is what makes making something like this so much fun. You just make it your own. You do exactly what you want, the colors you want. But typically you try to do an uneven number, so that's why I'm going with 5. I had 3 and now I'm going to try 5. And just for personal preference, I try not to go directly across. I try to do a little different. I'm hoping that, I don't know if you can see that bottom part. I might need to move the camera back a little bit. I'm going to let that dry, and then I'm going to bend it up and take the leaf off. Let's just make sure that you can see that. I'm going to pause the video at this point and just move the camera back for a second. Okay, I'm hoping that that's a little bit better, and now you can see the whole piece. I'm going to go ahead and nip this. Boy, this leaf doesn't want to come off. And tip this up a little bit, just so we can see its face. And then I'm going to twist some of these other greens over it to kind of weave it in so it doesn't look so set. Now I want to do some yellow, and I'm not sure at this point if I want something like this or if I want something like this. The reason why I like this is because of the lighter green. Again, and it's got a different texture, so I think I'm going to go with this one. Yeah, I like that. Now, if you don't have a stemming machine, you don't have to use one. It helps sometimes adhere the flowers a little bit better. Okay, now on this one, I think I will try to get this one even on the other side, or pretty close to even. Even though I said earlier I didn't care. I might wind up with 4 here, an even number. I'm just not quite sure what I'm going to do. I know I want one in there. Okay, so this is what I'm thinking of doing. I'm thinking because I want it, I don't know. I thought I wanted it a little bit shorter, kind of hidden. Sometimes if the stem is too small for the size of picks that I have, it doesn't always grasp as well as I wish it would. And then I have some of these really cute orange bunches that I think I'm going to add in. Let's just see what we think here about these. That's awful sweet. I'm going to add that. Now these I just picked up at Michael's on sale. They were 40% off, $4 for this butt trade here. And then I had an additional 25% off coupon. And I mean, there's quite a few in here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stems. And the reason why I like this orange is because it's going to pull out the orange and the ivy. So you're always trying to mimic something else that you have in the piece. And again, I like the leaf, it's lighter. Thinking about up here. Yeah. It's funny how sometimes you get going and you just know where you want to put something. This is a smaller bunch. I thought maybe by the sign here, but it's not laying the way I want it to. You know, and again, this is all personal preference too. I think what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to put a bow up here, and I think I'm going to put a bow down here. I don't know if this is the orange that I want. I do like that. Don't give up. Keep trying it until you find a place for it. Glue strings. I think I'm going to end up cutting this and making that a little bit shorter. Yeah, this looks out of place to me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up in here and I'm going to snip it and just put a pick on it. I like how it comes to a point because that's how you want your swag to typically end. It's come down to a narrow point, but it was too long. And then I'm going to try to feed it up in here. Yeah, I like that much better. I think I'm going to snip this other one off a little bit too. And of course I save all of these because we can use them. Tuck them in here or there somewhere else. And now I have this filler flower, the red. I was thinking about adding some of that, but I'm almost feeling like I'm happy with it. I don't want it to be too much. I think what I'm going to do now is, I don't know, let me try a tulip. No, I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to get my ribbon, get a bow going, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm switching sides on the wreath to put the bow on. This is what I've chosen. It's a burlap and it's got some lace on it, and then this blue, because when I put it on the piece I think it just really is striking. So the first thought process when making a bow for a piece like this is I know that I want to have a tail and maybe a couple of loops hanging down on this side, so I'm going to leave enough for me to play with that afterwards. I don't want to cut it too much. And then I'm simply going to take my first loop and decide, I know I want it kind of almost like, I say this all the time, floppy. I want it long enough that it can look floppy. I think the first loop maybe needs to be a little bit bigger than that. And then what I tend to do after that is make my loops a little bit smaller. So now I'm pinching my loop. Got it, and I'm pinching it. And I'm going to twist my ribbon so that the right side shows. I'm pinching it with my fingers. And I'm going to make another loop that same size. And then, like I said in my other video, I'm going to check it by holding it up to see if I've got the same length, and I can tell I'm a little bit shorter. So now that's just about right. Now I actually dropped my ribbon. I've got my ribbon on the floor. I just looked down. I don't have too much of this burlap. This is a brand new roll, but evidently they don't put too much on the roll, so I've got to be aware of that. So there's my second loop. And now again, still pinching, I'm going to twist. And again, hold it up. I need it just a little bit longer. Yeah. So I'm going to pinch all of that together. See, I've got my 4. And I'm just going to hold it. See, that's all I've got for that ribbon. Hold it up and do that. So I think for right now, what I'm going to do is take a zip tie. I've got a short zip tie, and I'm going to put it around the ribbon. And for those of you that struggle, you know, I have both the Easy Bow Maker and Pro Bow the hand. They're phenomenal bow makers. So if this is hard for you, if you have arthritis in your hands or you just get frustrated, this isn't supposed to cause frustration. This is supposed to be fun. So I would suggest that you check either one of those out. And then I leave it a little, I've fastened it around the 4 now, and I leave it a little loose, making sure that where it's connected is in the back, so it's not going to show. And then I take a longer zip tie. I gotta set up my camera so that you guys can see a little bit better next time. Longer zip tie, and I thread it through the first one. And then this is how I am going to attach my bow to my piece. So now what I'm going to do is tighten up that first one, make it nice and tight. And my thought process in this, I have a little bit extra of this. I have some pieces. So if I need to go in and add extra loops, I'm going to do that. This one doesn't seem to want to stay. I don't know why. I don't like that. I actually got those at the dollar store and I've had trouble with them. I want to make sure that it's going to stay tight. I think I'm not going to use it. Well, it won't. It's funny, it doesn't come off, but it doesn't stay as tight as I want it to. Okay, so at this point, I'm just simply going to thread this through the top and attach it. And I am going to pull some of these leaves out to make sure that I have some on top. Okay, I've attached my bow and I wanted to pause here to show you something. If you remember, I had left a particular length on this side for where I wanted to fill it in. What I did is I took, I'm just being careful because I really like the way it looks. I took the ribbon, the end, and I figured out where I wanted it to fall when it was done. And then I pinched it here, and I've actually pinched it up here, and I've made another loop. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a pipe cleaner. And it really doesn't matter what color because it's going to be hidden. Usually I would try. I thought I had a lighter. I have a whitey, but I'll just go with brown. In here, I'm going to cut the pipe cleaner to probably about that. I'll cut this pipe cleaner in half. Okay, so let me see, how many inches is this? Probably 3 or 4 inches. And I'm just going to twist tie, like in one of my other videos, around the ribbon. Twist it. And take my tail and attach some glue to that tail. And then stick it in where I had it. In those branches. And I'll separate it after. And then I'm going to do the same thing up here at the top. Just pressing it in to make sure you get a good hold. Because you want to make sure that it stays. And then I'm going to do the same up here, and if you notice when I'm done, it's actually going to appear like another bow loop. This is a great way, it's a great economical way to save ribbon. You could just cut pieces and add them in to make extra loops so you don't waste a lot of ribbon. Sometimes I watch people who make bows and they take out a ton and they cut a long string and then they end up just cutting it off. Ribbon's just so expensive. I try not to do that. You want your piece to look full and you want to have a really nice piece, but at the same time you need to be cost efficient. And then I'm just going to hold that up there, and if you notice, it just looks like another loop. And at the end of the video I will do a close-up and show you so you can see it better, how it came out. Now it's real important when you do add these pieces in, you want to make sure that the glue or the pipe cleaner isn't showing. So what you could do is go in and take an extra leaf if you needed to and just cover over. Let me just give you an example of that. See if this leaf would work. I could use one of these that I took off. If you remember, I took these 3 off. In fact, those 3 wouldn't look bad in there at all. So what I'm doing is I'm just going to put some glue on the end. And this is only if you want to be sure that the pipe cleaner isn't going to show. And now that's completely covered up. Okay, so we have our 2 ends there. Look at our loops. And of course I'll play with this some more once it's dry, but I try to let it dry good. And now here I need to figure out what I want to do. And again, I'm limited as to how much ribbon I have. But like I said, I do have a little left, a few pieces. This is tough because typically I would stand back and do this. I think I want it just like that. So now I can show you. I know how long I want that loop to be, so I'm just going to pinch this. Of course I have to grab another pipe cleaner. And I even made this end. This is too long. It doesn't need to be this long, because the longer it is, the more it shows. Just be real careful that you don't burn your fingers. I have said in other videos that's what I save like stems of flowers for. When I go ahead and stick something in, I'll typically use that. That's a good tip. do typically hold it for a couple minutes just because the weight of the ribbon sometimes can pull it down. Get my stick and just make sure that it's in there good. Okay, now I'm thinking of coming down here, and I think what I'm gonna do, I don't know if I like that. I think I might just end it there. So I'm actually gonna cut the ribbon because I'm so short. I know I have another spool of this somewhere. I just don't want to take the time right now to find it. Now, I don't want these to look like they end exactly the same. So what I would do is probably tuck that in there and glue it, and then I'll separate it. But right now, just for the sake of the video, now I have a little bit left. I'm gonna have to find the rest of that. Might be my other. And then what I'm thinking of doing is bringing it down here and ending it. Yeah, I like that a lot. I'm gonna have to find my other because I want to make a little bow. And then for this one, what I'm gonna do is just use the stemming machine. I'm just folding it upon itself, and I'm just gonna put a pick in it. Put some glue on it. And again, I'll have to pause the video while I go find that other ribbon. Okay, so I did end up finding a little bit more ribbon, and I finished it off down here. I chose not to dovetail or cut the ribbon at an angle because I'm thinking that this type of ribbon might fray, so I'm going to leave it just as it is. But this was a lot of fun to pull together. Leave me a comment, tell me what you think, and like I said, if there's something that you want to see me make, whether that would be a garden hose wreath. I also have another piece that's really cute. It's got a couple of pots and a trowel in it with flowers going up the side. That's a wreath that I think I might share with you. So go ahead and subscribe to our channel so that you won't miss any of our videos, and leave us a comment because we'd love to know again what you think of this project. And I will show you a up close once I'm all done with this. Again, thanks for watching. Take care.